So tonight we're going to be working with different types of paper, different weights of paper, vellum, printed paper, printed cardstock, different kinds of ink pads. I'm particularly using Memento today. That seems to be my go-to right now because I have all the colors. Actually missing one. It's a green. I have to see if I can find it. I thought I had two and I sent a friend my pistachio, but I have to get a new one. So that's the only color I'm really missing right now. And another thing I have started to do, because these are my go-to ink pads, I bought sponge daubers for making my flowers. And the ink pad has a number on it. Like this one is 707. Well, me and my OCD, I labeled my sponge daubers with the number so that I know which dauber goes with which ink pad, because the color on the pad doesn't always match the color of the ink. So that's my tip for trying to be organized today. So I'm going to get started. So thank you for joining me at Anthony's Papercraft. Excuse me. And this is going to be a weekly journey. And I've mentioned in Facebook posts, if you all have ideas, things you'd like to see, go ahead and send a message. You can PM me. You can send it through the Facebook page and I'll get the message. And we'll go from there and do some things you all are interested in doing. It helps me create. You all may have an idea of something you want to do that I have to explore and learn myself. So, been crafting for almost 30 years, but I'm still learning every day. And a lot of days, what I'm learning is what I tried doesn't work, and that's how we figure things out. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and we're going to start creating. So I'm working with some dies tonight from Sizzix, Heartfelt Creations, and unfortunately Heartfelt Creations went out of business. I'm very sad about that. And I'm going to try and adjust my camera a little bit more. I got another new camera. So the last camera kind of went like this. It was too wide of an angle for my space. And I had to send it back and get a different camera. But this one, woohoo, comes with a remote control for me to zoom in and zoom out. So I'm very excited about that. And some of the other things we're going to do, back to Heartfelt Creations. I'm going to do some research, see who still has any of it to sell it, and I will put links when the video is moved over to YouTube. I will put links in there for you to find these stamps. I would suggest if you're in an area where there's a lot of Amish stores, check those stores because a lot of those stores sucked up a lot of this product. There was nobody who bought them. They just closed, unfortunately. So we're going to use some of these dies today, one stamp set. Also, this Sizzix set makes all these different flowers and has branch and different leaves. I've used this multiple times. I've lent it to people. It finds its way back home. I believe this set is still available. I will verify that as well. So let's move the dies out of the way. And some of the tools that I'm going to use, I don't know if you're not familiar with flower shaping. Tonic makes a great set of flower shaping tools. If you look for these by other companies, they might be calling them daughters because there are people who paint on rocks with acrylic paint and they'll dip the ball into the paint and then tap it onto the rock. So they make dots. So they're also called daughters. You might find them that way as well. So we're going to use those. You need a foam mat. If you don't have an actual foam mat for flower shaping, you can use a mouse pad. You just need something spongy. You can use the mat out of your stamp positioner as well. Those are typically a little thinner, so you need something. This mat's about 1/4 inch thick. Thick. And it was a bigger mat, and I cut it down because I don't need this whole mat. So it gave me two. One for home, one for travel. And so we're going to use these. We're also going to use a pokey tool with a point, because we're going to make a hole in the middle of a flower to add our stamens, which I have here. Tonight I'm going to use purple. And then we're going to make this card tonight. I'm showing you this card, and we're going to make another card with the carnations tonight. So I'm going to show you how to make all these flowers tonight, and then we'll make a couple of cards. Let's see. Hey, Mary Jones. Hope everybody's doing well. Oh, there's that word again. Someday I'll learn a new word instead of when I'm taking a breath. So I'm going to get started, and I have already pre-stamped and pre-die cut my images because the big shot would just be annoying to have in front of me. The one tool that we're going to use later on that you'll have to put your earplugs in is my paper crimper, because I've got something to show you with this, and I'm sure almost every one of you has one of these laying in the bottom drawer all the way in the back because you've stopped using it. Well, I'm resurrecting it. I'm going to show you a couple different things tonight that I do with this, involved with card making and when I'm making flowers. So I'm going to get started with doing some flower shaping and some inking, and we'll go from there. So as you can see from this aster I did, I'm going to turn it sideways so you can see it's scooped up. And I'm going to show you the difference in if you want your flower to come up or if you want it to come down. So here is the same aster, and the flowers are shaped going down. You can see that a little bit. So we can shape our flowers either direction. We can use any color paper we want. We can use whatever inks we want. You could take this and not stamp it. This is the only set I have from Heartfelt that I have the stamps and the dies. The other ones, I just use the dies and I color them and with my inks, and I go from there. You can put things in the middle or not. It's up to you. What's nice with the flower sets is they come with leaves as well. So I will show you the leaves. I'm also going to show you how to make leaves for your projects when you don't have a leaf die. So we're going to have a touch on a lot of things today, and just if you need to stop or you have a comment or a question, put it in all caps. That way it will jump out for me in the comment feed. So if you do all capitals for this, it's not screaming, it's just bringing it to my attention that you have a question. Hello, Rita. So we're going to start out with some inking. Let me grab a piece of scrap paper real quick to ink on. And I'm also going to zoom in so you can see this better. See how close I can get now? You can see the new camera is fabulous. So I've already done some die cutting, and what we're going to do first, I die cut a flower from this set, and I die cut it out of a piece of printed paper. And I know you all who know me really well know I don't keep scraps, but this was from a scrap. So you can tell that it says Christmas on it. It doesn't matter what your paper is. So I'm going to take this And I'm going to ink this up with some green ink. So I'm going to take my Memento ink pad and my sponge dauber, and I don't put my finger in it because when I do this, I get that dot that is never going to go away. So I hold it around the outside. So I'm going to tap it in, and I'm just going to ink my edges of my flowers. I'm not going to ink the whole thing, and if your ink pad is really juicy like this one, you can also tap off a little bit so you don't get this big dark ink. So inking your flower is that simple. I'm going to grab a different green to ink the next one, and I'm going to still stay in the greens. And I'm going to ink. This one's a little bit lighter, so. And when you get to the smaller ones, you can just tap to add the color. Ooh, wrong side. Okay, so I've added my ink to those. Slide these over here. And I'm going to grab my mat and one of my flower shaping tools. And this set of tools has 6 different points. There's three out there, and there's 3 here. I tend to stick with the medium 2. Sometimes I go into the next smaller, like when I get to one of these smaller flowers. So I'm going to hang on to those 2. I'm going to set this one over here. Now, if I want my flower to curl up, let me grab another flower real quick for some. Actually, give me a leaf. I'm going to show you on a leaf. So if I want my flower to ink raise up, I'm going to have the flower face up. And I'm going to come on and spin and add a little bit of pressure. And see how the flower curls up? You can see it from the side maybe. See, it's curling up. If I ink that flower, and you can see where I've already inked them, if I sculpt that flower from the back, it's going to do the same thing, but when I turn it over to the ink side, the flower is going to face down versus facing up. I'm not sure if you can see that, so let me hold it up higher. I don't know if you can, if that shows up on the camera, how it's curved down versus curved up. But that's the difference. If you want, like I showed you with the aster before, this aster is curving up, where these asters are curving down. I think that shows up. So, yeah, Rita, really, no scraps. Hi, Debbie. So I want these flowers to scoop up. So I'm going to sculpt them face up. I'm going to start in the middle and do circles, and then I'm going to come on each leaf, press down from the end, and go into the center. And I'm going to do that to each one. Start with circles in the middle, then go to the end of the petal and pull it in. Some people spray their paper to break the fibers. I have found that for me, I don't need to do that. It's just one less thing I have to deal with water on my table making a mess. So I'm going into these 2 smaller flowers. I'm going to switch to the smaller tool. So again, I'm going to do little circles and then pull in. Okay, so the next thing you want to do, once you get them all done, I'm going to take a larger ball and I'm going to press in the middle because I want to add some more dimension to my flowers. Okay, where did I put my glue? Here's my glue. So then I'm just going to put glue in, and sometimes I use my tweezers, sometimes I don't. But I have found if I put the glue in the cup instead of putting the glue on the piece I want to put in, it's just easier for me to put a dot of glue down inside the middle. And then you want to stagger your petals. Put these petals in the spaces of the ones underneath. Press it down and then add the next layer. And you just keep building up. I could stop at 3 layers, but the die had the 4th one, so I'm going to put the 4th one in. Okay. So then I'm going to take my ball and press everything down together and push it in. And that's going to help set the glue plus pull the whole flower together. So it's that simple to make a flower. With these, I got a little too much ink on it and it's too hard to see the layers. So let me go up close so you can see the layers a little better. Oh, I'm still getting used to this camera. Okay. So you can kind of see the layers in here. But with the other flowers I'm going to show you that are just the solid colors, it'll be much easier to see the layers. I'm just using normal glue in a glue bottle with a little tip, Debbie. I have a little one, and I take my bigger glue bottle. Let me zoom out a little bit. I take my bigger glue and I put it in a smaller bottle just to give me a little bit more control. And by the way, this is my new favorite glue. I can't get enough of it. You can use a hot glue gun. I just find that it's more annoying with the cord to use the hot glue. It's just, there's that word again. It's just too much of this and this and this and this, and you know, with the hot glue I need the tweezers, and it's just one less step I have to deal with because I'm just gluing paper. Now if I'm going to put these on a mini album or something, I'll use my glue gun to attach them when I'm doing that and the flowers are all done. Hope that answers that question. Yeah, but I'm just using regular glue out of a little micro tip bottle. Okay, so I'm going to move on to, we're going to make an aster, and I want to show you the inking technique I use for this. So the aster comes with 5 pieces, and they're pretty easy to use. So I'm just going to grab a purple colored ink. This time I'm using like a magenta. Let me zoom back in. And with these, I'm just going in my ink, and I'm just going like this and tapping the ink on the flower. I'm going to do that to all the petals. Okay, so that's how I would do this. Since I already have a set totally inked. I'm going to swap these out and put these over here. I just want you to see again how simple it is to ink your flowers. So I've got a set already inked. Oops. Lost a leaf. Hold on, I'll be right back. Got it. So I have my 2 leaves. And I have all the pieces of my aster already inked. So we're going to just shape the flowers. So we're going to start the flower shaping. And with this one, I want these to curve down. So I'm going to put them on my mat with the stamped and inked side face down. And because these are smaller petals, I don't need the big ball. I can use one of the smaller ones. And I'm just going to start in the middle and circle and then press on the leaves. Like I said before, some people spray their flowers with water. I've never felt I needed to do that, but I am going to show you one technique tonight that you do need to spray. But when you're using just the cardstock, you don't need to spray. So it's that simple to curl that flower. How many of you have made flowers before? Put a yes or an I have or something in the comments so I can see. And I am not a flower making expert. There are people who just go to like the land of crazy and just make these most beautiful flowers that look like they just picked them out of the flower bed. No worry, Linda, that you're late. We're working on some flower shaping with some Heartfelt Creations and some Sizzix dyes. And I was telling people earlier that we're just upset that Heartfelt is gone because they were such a great company and had wonderful products. I know there's another company I want to explore. I'm going to see them when I go to Novi in May to the Great Lakes Mega Meet. And that is Elizabeth Craft Designs. They have the most gorgeous flowers, dyes, and stamps. So I'm just pulling that into the middle again. And I'm going to switch to my smaller ball because the petals have gotten smaller. And the last one, the last petal, I have inked both sides. And I will explain to you, you'll see what I do when I go to assemble the flower. So we're going to assemble the rest of the flower except for this piece first. So what I want to do is I'm going to take my bigger ball and I'm going to press the centers back down into the mat because I want to give some lift and dimension to my flowers. So I'm just going to flip it over, press, and turn a little bit. And that gives me a nice little cup in the center. And I do a little spin also, just to break those fibers a little bit more. Now then the smaller one, I'm going to switch to a little smaller ball, press down, and spin. So now I'm ready to assemble this flower. So yeah, Elizabeth Craft Design is awesome. I did some samples for them with their Christmas kit. I will repost those. I still have them. I'm going to be delivering those to them in Novi. So now I'm going to start, put the glue in the cup, I'm going to set my first flower in to the cup and press it down in between the petals. Then I'm going to do the same thing with my next one, put some glue in the cup, and then alternate again. And press it down. And then I have the fourth layer. I'm going to do the same thing. And press it down into the middle as well. Like I said before, you can use your tweezers if you want. You don't have to. I'm going to take the large ball and press. That will make good contact with all the glue, plus add some more dimension to my flower. Anybody have any questions so far? Okay, so here's my flower. And you can see from the side that it's curling down versus this one that's curling up. This one, Astra curling up, if you were doing like a, you could use the smaller ones and curl up, it would make a cool flower lily. If you were doing something with like a pond theme. Or if you were doing a pond theme mini album, this stamp would be, style stamp would be really cool for a flower lily. Okay, so we have this one with the 4 layers. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with the 5th layer. And the 5th layer is inked on both sides. And I'm going to shape this one with the printed side up. And I'll explain why as I do that. Okay, so I'm going to start in the center. I'm going to pull on the petals and curl them up. And I really want to curl this last layer. And I'm going to circle some more in the middle to really pull that in tight, and I'm going to press. So now I'm going to take my hands and press this together some more and tighten it way up. Okay? Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue in the middle of this flower, and I'm going to take this center one that I just made and set it in the middle to give that some extra dimension. So we're going to press it in for the glue, and then take the bigger ball, press the whole flower down to really add some dimension to that flower. And now you have this piece in the middle giving even more lift to the center of your flower. So that's how easy it is to make a flower. But I really like doing the center sticking up. So you want to add a little sparkle to that. Let me show you how to do that real quick. I'm going to grab a sponge. And yes, don't fall over. I'm going to use glitter tonight. I do need my tweezers. Hang on one second. Things you can find when the room is clean. So I'm going to take a little piece of just scrap copy paper, and I'm going to squirt some glue on my piece of paper. I don't need a whole lot of glue for what we're going to do. It's just easier to work like that. I'm going to tap my sponge. Yeah, it doesn't have to be clean. Tap my sponge. Oh, a little bit more glue than that. And you know what? I do want a clean sponge, so give me a second. Just going to flatten this out and cut that end off. That's nasty because the glue reacted to the stressing that was in the sponge. So we're going to tap the glue on the sponge, tap the glue on the flower. I guess I do need a lot more glue. So get some glue, tap it on my flower like this. And then we're going to drop it in the glitter. Tap the glitter off. And there's your glittered flower. That simple. How cool is that compared to no glitter? And you people who know me personally know I don't do glitter. So, but for you all, I'll do some glitter. But it's that simple. And I just have plain iridescent glitter that picks up whatever color it's going to go on to. So what do you think of that so far? And then I would just take some glue. I'm going to really quick shape my leaves. And I'm going to shape the leaves so they curl up and not down. I'm going to add some glue to the bottom of the leaf, right there in the middle. Set them across from each other, however you want them shaped. Let me get the camera and press the flower down. And pick up the glue. And the glue stuck to my hand instead of the paper. So there's our aster completed with the leaves. Anybody have any questions? Joan, I have to show you. This is my glitter. Come on, back up. This is all glitter. I've had it for 15 years. I use glitter so infrequently. So it just sits in a bag, and right now it's on the shelf because I just actually unearthed it. So I have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. Now that I have glitter all over everything, I'm going to swap out my paper and my flower shaping mat. I'm going to get another mat out because that one's so full of glitter. And we're going to make some more flowers. So I'm not going to do any more inking tonight on these because I have some already done for you that I can just assemble. So the next one I want to assemble, I'm going to do a carnation, and it's 4 pieces, and you can see let me zoom back in. You can see it's 4 pieces, and I'm going to shape these. These I'm going to shape from the front because I want the flower to curl in. So very easy. Circle in the middle and circle on each of the petals and pull it into the center. So if you've ever been afraid of flower shaping, it's so simple. Y'all are quiet tonight. Cannot get you guys to have a conversation if it kills me. So now I'm going to press down into the middle of my flowers to create the cups, and I'm going to glue them together. And we're going to do something different to this flower once we get it glued together. But like I said, it's, for me, I find it's easier to put the glue in the cup than on this piece, because it gives me a chance to move it around. I'm going to take my stylus and press those together. Kind of get them centered and stuck together. One more to put in. And then we're going to press it down. And when I'm making the carnation one, I can, or any flower, while I'm pressing, I'm also pushing in from the sides. So I can manipulate that paper to make it curl up. So there's that flower. Now I want to show you the next step that I'm going to do. And remember I said I needed a pokey tool? Well, I've got my pokey tool, and I'm going to poke a hole in the middle through all those layers. And I'm going to, I need a bigger hole, so I'm going to slide it all the way up to the end of my pokey tool and twist it around a little bit to make that hole just a little bit bigger. Oh, it didn't stay stuck. A little bit more glue on that one. And I flattened it out, but we'll get it put back together. And then we'll get it reshaped. And the reason I put the hole in the middle is because I want to put the stamen through the middle of the flower. And I usually use 3 pieces of this, and the paper's kind of coated and twisted, so I can squeeze it into a point. Zoom in one more time. So you can see I've got it squoze into a point, and I'm going to just push that through the hole. Sometimes you have to twist them a little bit. I like when you have a piece of thread and you're trying to thread a needle. And they don't want to go through tonight. Let me look at my hole. The whole flower fell apart. Let me grab another one real quick. I'm going to make the holes first. See, doesn't always go as planned, so you're not alone when something doesn't work exactly how you want it. I'm going to quick shape these flowers. And sometimes we have to go on a fly and redo something, but I'm not perfect, and I have a friend who's one of her big lines is we are not Hallmark. So if it's not flawless, it's okay. It's handmade. So we'll do this again. Some more glue. And get this flower put together real quick. Everybody still with me? Where did you get the flower center from? These also came from Heartfelt. I will do some research and put that in the comments as well. And I tried to do that today, and with the power outage, or yesterday with the power outage and stuff, it just was not a good day. Plus I worked yesterday for a couple hours. So, all right, let's try this again. Okay. So there's one. Put a second one in there. Make the hole just a little bit bigger. And they're not going to cooperate tonight. They're very picky. So we're just going to have two in there. And then I would add some glue to the back, around the hole, and a little bit on the petal, and fold this over. And once that glue is set, I would come back and cut the rest of it off. And this, when I add the leaves, becomes this. So here's with the stamen in the middle and a couple of the leaves that came with the die. So what I did with this also is I punched a circle and punched a bigger hole in it because I want more of a base to help hold everything together. And I have a plan for these, and we're going to make a card with these 3 carnations now. And then I want to show you how to make one more kind of flower after I get this card put together. So I took a card, normal card base. Zoom out. Okay, so I have a normal card base, and I punched one side of it with a punch. And I put a piece of solid cardstock inside to be behind this layer. So then I have 2 pieces to fit this side that I layered up a piece of the pink on the black. And I don't know if you can see the 3 holes that I punched in it. That's where I'm going to attach my flowers to the card with the stamen hanging off the back. So let me grab some tape real quick. And I'm going to put some tape under these holes on the back side. I think you can see that reflecting in the camera. I'm going to put a flower through. Pull it in and press these down into the tape. It's similar to when we wrap ribbon around a card. So it's just the same kind of idea. So we're going to pull that in. You know what? Let me grab some score tape. Score tape will make this so much easier and so much faster. So I'm going to pull my flower in, bend this down, and put a piece of tape over to hold it down. Much easier than trying to use the regular tape. Okay, so there's my first flower. Put in my second flower down here. Through these holes. Pull it in, hold it tight. Grab a piece of tape. And I'm not peeling the back off the score tape. I'm just using it to help hold this flower down. And then I'm going to put in my third flower. I'll grab a piece of tape while I have that. So then I'm going to put my third flower in. And I'm going to figure out where my leaves are. Pull this down tight into the card and put the tape over the back to hold it down. Now this one I want to twist a little bit, so I'm going to lift up the tape. I want to shift where the leaves are. So I want to turn the whole image. So I'm going to do that and then tape it back down. Everybody with me so far? So there's 3 carnations on the card. Now I want to add a little bit of detail to the back. So I have a little stubby stamp from Stamps by Judith. Grab a black ink pad, and I'm going to put just a few little dots on my card just to fill it in. Okay, so that adds some interest to my background. And then I have a little greeting that I'm just going to put some adhesive on. Stick it down here. And because I have all of this going on in the back, I'm going to grab some score tape. And I'm just going to put some score tape on my card base and not on my card. Can everybody see that? Don't know if you can see that. So I put 3 strips of score tape on here. I'm going to peel just one of them off to begin with so that I can get my card in the right place. Get my card panel in the right place. Press that down, and then I'm going to lift up and pull the other 2 pieces of tape out from underneath. And I cut my nails today, and I should have left one just a little bit longer. So there's the card that I made with the 3 carnations. And if they're moving around for you too much, just come in with your glue. Squirt a little bit of glue in there and hold it for a second till it sets. And then it'll keep your flowers from moving around as much. So, what do you think of that card? So, I have 2 more things I want to show you tonight, and then I'm going to let you go. One is we're going to show you real quick how to make a leaf when you don't have a die. So I'm just going to take this 1/4 sheet of paper and I'm just going to tear it in half. I don't care that with what I'm going to do that it's got a raw edge. There are sometimes you don't need a paper trimmer, and when you're doing things like this, it doesn't matter. So, and I apologize for the noise right now. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And I have my paper crimper. I want to put the folded side into the paper crimper, and I want to put the paper on an angle through it. Squeeze the trigger and just turn. Sorry. Same thing. Gonna do it with 2 pieces. Okay, so I have these 2 done, and then I have one done with some printed paper as well. So all you're going to do is you're going to take your scissors and just cut a leaf shape. It's that simple. So we'll make a bigger one. And I'm going to cut one out of this printed paper for you as well. Okay. So then I'm going to open them up, and the inside is going to be, you can use either side if it's double-sided paper. For the ones that are just the regular cardstock, the valley is going to be the top of your leaf. And if I take a green ink pad and ink this up. Open this up from that. I'll just do it here. I'll clean the mat. And then I rub my ink on the paper. Because we ran it through the paper crimper, it gives us the veining in the leaf. So it's that simple to make a leaf when you don't have a die. And when you ink up the printed paper, you can still see the veining, and some of the paper still shows through. Now I'm going to make one more for you real quick, and we're going to do it with this piece of paper that's already cut. And say I want a jagged edge to my leaf. Take your decal scissors and cut your leaf. And now you have this textured edge to your leaf. Let me get the autofocus for a second. See how far I can zoom? See, here's the edge from using the pattern scissors to your leaf versus just straight lines. So say for your project this leaf is too big. Okay, this leaf is too big for your project. Okay? Fold it in half and just recut it. Say I needed a longer skinny leaf. Now I have the longer skinny leaf. Okay. Any questions? Cordelia, you can get your paper crimper just about anywhere. I got mine at I got mine at a local store that's no longer here because they got bought by Michaels. And I will put a link in to that. I know you can get them from a company called Cleveland Art Supply, and I'll put the link to them in the comments. So glad you made it tonight. I want to show you one more thing, and I want to show you this how I made this rose. This rose is stunning. I did nothing else to it other than die cut it and one other step. Yeah, it is better than using a die as long as you don't need like specifically shaped leaves that you can't do like a leaf for like a pine branch kind of leaf with it. But if you're just making leaves, yeah, and you can just make them longer, skinny, or whatever. But this rose came out so good. I don't know if you can see all the dimension in that. And the secret to this is it's vellum. So I have my leaf panel, and I'm going to just spread out my layers here real quick. And I'm doing this with a rose, but you can do this with any kind of flower die. And this one is so easy. I don't need the paper shapers. I don't need anything else. I'm just going to layer my flowers. Put a little bit of glue in the middle. And just try my best to alternate the layers. And I know with vellum you can see the glue, but with this you're not going to see it. So let me zoom in one more time so you can really see what I'm doing. So here's the little dot of glue. I'm going to put this layer in like that. Okay? So I've got those 3 layers, let those dry. I'm going to take the next ones and glue those together. A little bit of glue. Alternate my layers. One more layer. Okay, and then I'm going to take these and glue these 2 pieces together. It's just easier when you're using the smaller pieces to work with a smaller piece, get it all together, and then attach it. And just hold it down for a minute so all the glue has a chance to set. Okay, so here's my flower. See how it's all flat? Oh, and as far as the crimper, I recommend you buy the metal one and not the plastic one, because the plastic ones wear out and they don't put as much pressure in the center. So if you find a plastic one for like $4, it's a waste of your $4. Trust me. Ask me how I know. So the metal one that I have is from Fiskar's, and if Linda's still on, Linda, do you have paper crimpers at your store? Linda Weiss is on here, and she's from Valley Stamp and Scrap in Neenah, Wisconsin. And you should follow her and watch her lives. She does some awesome stuff. So if Linda's still on, if Linda has Fiskar's paper crimpers, maybe if she doesn't have them, she can get them for you. I don't know. So we'll see if Linda pops on and gives us an answer. Okay, so here are all my pieces. Okay. I want to grab my cloth real quick for just a second. Put my flower on it. Okay. Put it down here in the cloth. I'm going to take my water bottle and just mist this paper. We're going to give it a nice rain shower. Let it peg. The vellum is like 26 pounds. It's pretty light. I know where you live, you can get it at Marco's Paper. It comes in a bunch of colors, but most of the time I use the translucent white. And you can see how it's already starting to curl on its own. But I want to help it along. I'm going to just play with it a little bit, lift the layers because the glue had time to settle, and just really lift those layers. And you can see how they're start to curl just on its own from wetting it. It does all the work for you. You can use the vellum technique with any die you have. Joan, the store is called Valley Stamp and Scrap. And hang on one second, I will type their email address or their website in the comments. Okay, so there's the, Linda might not be on anymore because she's probably getting ready for her own live. Okay, so now I'm going to, you can see how this is really curling up. I'm going to assist it along because I'm impatient, and I'm just going to use my heat gun real quick to help dry it out a little bit. You just can't get real close to the vellum with a heat gun. And I don't recommend that you use the heat gun that looks like this. I don't recommend this one. It's too loud, it's too hot, it's too powerful. So the one that, the Ranger heat gun, the little Tim Holtz one that is quiet like a hairdryer, is perfect for this. So now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of my flower, and I'm going to lay my leaf piece in the center, and I'm going to take my scrap paper for 1 second to use to hold those together. So I'm not pressing my finger completely into the glue. And I can still keep playing with it a little bit and create a little bit more of those layers with my finger. But that's how simple it is to make a rose or a flower with vellum. So does anybody have any questions? I saw another comment about the paper crimper. This one is from Fiskar's. Let me zoom out. So this one is from Fiskar's. It may not be blue and orange anymore, but this one is like 25 years old. It's a workhorse. And I can honestly tell you, this has never been in the back of my drawer. It has always been out handy. I taught a class at a store with it, and people lost their minds, and the store had to buy like 10 of them because the customers all wanted it. So again tonight, just to review, we did some flower shaping. We made a few cards. And here's another flower. Here's the aster with the glitter. And here's the aster without the glitter. So, what's your favorite? So, what is your favorite thing we've done tonight? Well, my favorite is the rose with the vellum. My second favorite, and it kills me to say, is the flower with the glitter on it. Again, who can beat that? And that was so easy. We tapped glue onto the flower and dropped it face down into the glitter. So, I'm going to give you a tip, not a tip, a tidbit of what's happening next week. So give me 1 second to grab it. We are going to make a master board next week. So this master board is got a Christmas theme, and it's a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and it's all torn up scraps. This one is not finished, but this one is started. There are many other steps that have to happen to this. Inking, stenciling, texture paste, cutting it up. We're going to make some cards. So I encourage you to next week to do this one along with me. So next week I want to do this as a group project together. I want to at least get this part done, and the stamping and the stenciling. And if you want to use texture paste, I'll show you how to do that, but it's not required. But we're going to do something like this next week. So grab your scraps. Yes, grab your scraps. If I know I'm making these, I save my scraps, so my local friends don't have to beat me up. And we're going to work. So you need paper, a base, and a couple of glue sticks. You don't need scissors because everything is torn, but glue sticks are the best thing for this. And have a variety of paper. If you want to grab, like I did one with graphic 45 paper from a collection, it came out beautiful. I've already cut it up. So, but this is going to be next week's project, is a masterboard. So I encourage you to work with me. The one that I'm going to make with you is not going to be 12 by 12. Well, I'll start at 12 by 12, but then I'm going to have another one to swap out that I've already cut up, and I'll tell you how to cut it up to get the most out of it. If you're an ATC card maker, fabulous backgrounds for an ATC project. If you're not an ATC maker, card maker, ATC stands for Artist Trading Cards, and there's groups of people all over the country, probably worldwide, that make these small little pieces of artwork and they trade them. You go to swaps, you might have to, and some of them have a theme. I got yelled at my first one, but that's okay because I didn't understand what the rules were. And I don't really swap them because my brain does not work in a 2.5 by 3.5 inch space very well. But we're going to do a masterboard next week in class or on our Facebook Live. So I am going to start doing some mini classes. I'm working on my website so that you can order a kit, and there'll be a group of videos that you get the link to the videos if you purchase the kit to make a kit along with me. Those are still in the planning stages because I'm starting my website from scratch, because what I was doing I didn't like, and I was very limited because I tried using an AI program instead of doing it myself. So I'm going to do it myself and get exactly what I want, not what the computer thinks I want. So, again, this is what we did tonight. I hope you enjoyed the cards. I will do some research, and once I flip it to YouTube, which will probably be by Friday, I'll have links into stores that I've referenced. I will do some research where you can buy these dies. I know you can get dies, current brand new dies from Elizabeth Craft Designs, and they are wonderful. So thanks again for joining me tonight, and I will talk to you Wednesday. Thank you very much. Have a great night, everyone.